Hardcore is hard, and with the 1.17 update, caves are also getting a lot more dangerous. So today, I decided to create a brand new hardcore world where once I go in the caves, I'm not allowed to come back to the surface. So you'll see it was really tough to find food, get wood, and a whole bunch of other resources that are very rare in the deep depths of the Minecraft world. So anyway, definitely remember to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, and if you want to see more Minecraft content on the channel, because I don't usually make Minecraft, but if you guys like it and I can pull it off, I'll be sure to make some more. Alright, so I spawned in my world in a beautiful little forest filled with oak trees and birch trees, but don't get too attached because we won't be staying here for long. Now before I headed down into the caves, there are essentially three things that I wanted to get. First off, wood, because wood is very rare in the caves. The only way to find it is really if you find the mine shaft, but those are pretty rare and I'm pretty sure we won't find them too early on. After that, I also wanted to get some tree saplings. Might as well get oak and birch since there's already those type of trees around us. And yeah, that's going to allow us to farm two different types of wood, and wood is obviously super useful. Pretty much essential if you want to play Minecraft, so I'm going to bring a couple saplings down there, see if we can grow our own trees. And the last thing I wanted to get was wheat seeds, because with wheat we can craft bread, and that's a pretty decent food source compared to whatever else we can find in the caves. Probably rotten flesh, not the best food in the game. And then once I had gotten pretty much the bare minimum to survive, I started looking for a cave entrance, and I found this one, which was very dark, but it also is pretty steep, which would allow us to go deep down pretty quickly. Pretty much as soon as I got in, I realized that I should probably make a pickaxe, so I turned some logs into planks, I turned those planks into a crafting table, and then I crafted my very first wooden pickaxe. And just like anyone else, when they make a wooden pickaxe, the first thing I did was mine out 3 cobblestones so that I could later on upgrade to a stone pickaxe. And then soon after, I found some coal, which allowed me to craft a couple torches and light up the area around me. And look at that new coal texture. Wow, that's fancy. And then with my brand new hyper efficient stone pickaxe, I mined through all the coal that I could find, because coal doesn't actually spawn when you go in very deep in the new caves. Then I continued lighting up the caves and found some iron, which also got a texture change, although it got changed again in the latest snapshot, so this one's not really relevant anymore, but to be fair, it wasn't that good looking anyway, so I'm glad they changed it. I also found some copper, which to be fair isn't that useful, but you know, it's a new ore, might as well take it. And then after stocking up on a bunch of coal, I decided to head down even deeper into the cave until I found this hole, which looked super dangerous, so after a little bit of hesitation, I jumped in anyway. And to my surprise, the cave kept getting deeper and deeper, so of course I kept going down, because the ultimate goal here is to get to deepslate, get to see the new caves, the giant caves, the beautiful caves of the 1.17 update, but I was also hearing some mobs, so I had to be a bit careful since I didn't have armor yet. And then once I finally got to the bottom, I realized that it connected with another cave, so I jumped in and started exploring. I also met this nice little zombie here that I managed to take down with just my stone pickaxe. So I was pretty lucky that all I had to face was a zombie, but soon enough I'd be facing some more dangerous mobs like skeletons and creepers, so I really needed to make some armor and at least a decent weapon, you know? Cause if you're not familiar with hardcore, once you die, you do not respawn, you just lose your entire world, and I don't want that to happen, so I had to make myself a bit of protection. So after lighting up the caves around me and mining out a bit of copper and iron while I was at it, I finally made myself a furnace so that we could start smelting down the iron and make ourselves some pretty good gear. And while I was waiting, I continued exploring the caves around me and checked out the new cave generation, because even for these smaller caves, it has changed quite a lot. And then once part of the iron was melted down, I made myself a shield just for protection and an iron pickaxe in case I found some like gold or redstone or maybe even diamonds. Oh, and also I made a stone axe just in case I found some mobs. And the iron pickaxe became useful pretty much immediately because I found some gold that I managed to mine out, and also I found a creeper that I actually killed before it blew up, which is pretty awesome. Then after that I found some lapis and some redstone, which could be useful later on. And I also took some dirt, because just like coal, dirt doesn't spawn under Y0, so if I want to build a farm, I'm gonna need to take some now. After that, I found my way back to the furnace and then made myself full iron armor, and once I had equipped it, I felt like I was finally well protected, and I was finally ready to head into the deeper caves, you know, the ones that are made out of deepslate. So I packed up my furnace and started wandering around, getting deeper and deeper, until finally, boom, deepslate. But right as I was about to go in, I got greeted by a friendly skeleton who was trying to give me some of his arrows, so as he got closer, I just hit him with the old axe and got some bones from him, which is pretty nice. But right as I killed that skeleton, I was hearing another one, so I went up and killed him as well, because bones are extremely valuable in the early game. It's going to allow us to grow some crops and make some food, which is going to be super useful because our hunger is already depleting. But after I was done messing with the skeletons, it was actually time to head into the real 1.17 caves. And just saying, I really love the look of the deep slate. I know the texture has been changed a little bit more in the latest snapshot, but I still love like the dark and creepy vibe that it creates in the new caves. But anyway, after exploring a little bit and mining a few ores, I saw a little bit of cobblestone peeking out, and you know what that means? A spawner. In this case, it was a spider spawner, which isn't as useful as a zombie spawner, because I could have gotten like unlimited rotten flesh to eat, or a skeleton spawner that could have given me a whole bunch of bone meal, but you know, I'm not complaining. A spawner's a spawner, and the loot inside the chest was actually pretty decent. I actually found some melon seeds, which are pretty good in this situation, because that means I have a second thing that I can plant aside from wheat. But anyway, after deactivating the spawner and killing the spiders that were already in there, I managed to get a peek at the second loot chest, and this one was a little bit better. It had some pretty good stuff like a saddle and a name tag that I'm probably not going to get to use anyway. It also had some bread, which is the first real food I've found in this world, and a bucket, which is pretty much always useful. And then I headed down into the cave until I found a dead end, and so I decided to settle down temporarily to smelt down a couple things and organize my inventory. But for my real base, I wanted to build it maybe in like one of those giant caves, but I hadn't found one yet. But since they are pretty massive, it shouldn't be too hard to find one. Basically, the only thing I built was a cobblestone wall with a door and a couple furnaces and a crafting table, which isn't too nice, but you know, at least it keeps me safe for the time being. I also built myself a square of dirt with a hole in it so that when I eventually find water, I could plant some crops and start growing my own food. I also crafted my first ever copper block that I basically just used as decoration on top of the door. And yeah, I guess it looks fine, but you know, at least for the time being now, I have a copper block on top of my door that greets me every time I come in. I also finally made myself an iron axe and an iron shovel, and then I planted some trees because my wood supply was already starting to look pretty small. And now that I had settled down, I went back into the caves to try and find one of those giant ones because they looked so cool. And after tons and tons of looking around, I finally found some water. Not a giant cave, but you know, water's good also. But then I kept on looking until finally I found one, and it already looks pretty massive, but afterwards I'm going to explore it and you'll see that it's even bigger than it seems. And by the way, here we were at Y-11, so not the deepest possible, but still pretty deep, so I decided to bring all my stuff and set up another base here. Also, here's the gameplay brightened up so that you can actually see the cave, and yeah, it goes pretty far. So anyway, after that I had to find my way back to my original base, fighting tons of mobs along the way, but eventually I made it home, and literally the first thing I did was make an iron hoe so that I could plant some wheat seeds and start bone mealing some food, because you know I'm not waiting for that. But before that, I went back to the spider spawner to get some string, and I turned some of it into wool so that I could make a bed, and with the extra string I also made a bow. And then while I was at it, I also dyed the bed blue with some lapis. And then I realized that the bed is pretty much useless since I can't respawn in hardcore, and the day and night cycle doesn't really change much when you're in the caves. But anyway, afterwards I bone mealed some of my crops and then crafted my first piece of bread. Well, I already had some bread before, but this is the first piece that I make myself, so that's cool, I guess. And then I wasted the rest of my bone meal trying to grow some trees that didn't grow at all, probably because there wasn't enough space. So after that, I just decided to pack everything up and head towards the giant cave so that I could actually build a slightly nicer base. And once I got there, I started lighting up the place, I placed down a door, and then I saw a baby zombie that was chasing after me at full speed, and I got super scared because on some of my other attempts, I actually died from baby zombies. So I just ran away until I was backed up to a corner, and then I used my shield to knock him off, but thankfully this baby zombie was like not very smart, so I managed to kill him anyway. And after that, I just decided to start building my house right on the side of the cave instead of actually going inside the giant cave because that thing was filled with mobs and that's super dangerous. So I decided to just stay where I was, and then I started building up some walls, carving some holes, and just giving this house a little bit of a nicer shape. After that, I placed down my furnaces and my crafting table, and then I also blocked off the back because you never know where mobs could be coming from. After that, I started lighting up the caves around me just to keep it a little bit safer, and once again, I'm going to brighten up the gameplay so you can see just how massive this cave actually is. And there you go. As you can see, it's absolutely massive. But anyway, once I went back to my house and ate some tasty rotten flesh, I put back the copper block right on top of my door because I thought it looked pretty nice. I also used the back of my house to build a tiny wheat farm that I then decorated with some wooden planks, and finally, my house was looking a little bit homey and not like deep slate everywhere. Also, while I was lighting up the caves, I found like 5 diamonds, but like, who cares? That's no big deal. After that, I made a stone cutter that allowed me to make some cobbled deep slate stairs, and then I used those stairs to make a stairway from the bottom of the cave to my house because I was really struggling to get up there, and I did not want to get caught by a mob right when I was going to my house because that would kind of suck, you know? And after building that, it actually made getting to my house a lot easier. And when I was at home, I made myself a diamond pickaxe, and then I started working on the floor, making part of it out of birch slabs, but the rest was all polished deep slate, and I think it looks pretty cool. And finally, I added some cobblestone stairs just to break up the roof a little bit. I even placed down my useless bed right here on top of the furnaces. And then as I wanted to go outside, I saw there was someone waiting for me at the door, so I just waited for him to leave because I didn't really want to die, you know. But anyway, once he had moved out a little bit, I just sprinted out the door and started looking for him. I also placed down some dirt so that I could start planting down some trees. And there he was. There was the creeper. But I managed to take him out with 3 quick arrows. When I was done, I planted a couple trees and then went exploring much deeper into the caves this time. And basically, I discovered that this cave was pretty much endless and there was no way I could explore it all. So I just lightened up the most I could. And then I just kept exploring. It was huge. The cave generation is so cool in this new update, and it's just really awesome to see it all. And I'm actually quite glad I made this video because a lot of the other YouTubers were all checking it out in creative or in spectator with night vision and all that, and it's just not the same as when you're checking it out in survival, and especially in hardcore where you gotta be really careful. And if I'm being honest, the new caves are a lot harder to survive in because no matter how much you light up, no matter how many torches you spam, there's always some spots that are going to be dark because these caves are just so big. But to be fair, since the warden is not in the game yet, you can very well survive with just iron armor if you're being careful. So it's not like it's too hard of a challenge. But it's still a lot harder than the caves we have now. Because right now the gameplay is brightened up, but when I was actually playing it was extremely hard to see anything. But anyway, the last couple things that I did was mine 3 more diamonds, then I went back home, slept in my beautiful blue bed, and boom. That's the end. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe if you did, and comment down below if you want to see more Minecraft videos, because I'd be glad to make some more if you guys want some. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice day, and peace.